Grandfather paradox. If you use a time machine to stop your grandparents from meeting, you might stop yourself from being born. But if you were never born, how could you have used the time machine in the first place? Achilles and the tortoise. Achilles, who runs fast, gives a tortoise a head start in a race. The paradox says Achilles will never catch the tortoise because every time Achilles reaches where the tortoise has moved a bit further. This goes on forever, making it seem like Achilles can never catch up. Ship of Theseus. You have a ship and you replace every part of it. Is it still the same ship? If you use the old parts to make another ship, which one is the real ship? Saurite's paradox. You have a pile of sand. If you remove one grain at a time, when does it stop being a pile? Barber shop paradox. In a town, the barber shaves everyone who doesn't shave themselves. But who shaves the barber? If he shaves himself, it breaks the rule. If he doesn't, he should be shaved according to the rule. Catch-22 paradox. Needing something that you can only have if you don't need it. For example, a pilot can avoid dangerous flights if he's crazy, but asking not to fly shows he's sane. Fermi Paradox. If the universe is so big, why haven't we seen any aliens? Opposite day paradox. If I say that it's opposite day, is it really opposite day? Simpson's paradox. It happens when a trend appears in different groups of data but disappears or reverses when the groups are combined. This shows that the overall result can be the opposite of what you see in individual groups. Tolerance paradox. Unlimited tolerance can destroy tolerance because it allows too much intolerance. For a tolerant society to survive, it must not tolerate intolerance. Bootstrap paradox. If a time traveler gives young Einstein a book with the theory of relativity and Einstein publishes it as his own, who is the real author? Stockdale paradox. Believing you will succeed soon can make you less likely to succeed. But believing you will succeed eventually makes you more likely to succeed. Jevons paradox. When technology makes resource use more efficient, it often leads to more overall use of that resource because people like the product more. Olber's paradox. Why is the sky dark if there are so many stars in the universe? Paradox of Thrift. Saving more money is usually good for you, but if everyone does it, it can cause problems for the economy because it reduces spending and growth. Unexpected hanging paradox. A prisoner is told he'll be hanged on a weekday next week, but the hanging will be a surprise. As the week goes on, he thinks Friday is the latest possible day for the hanging because it would still be a surprise on Thursday. But if it hasn't happened by Thursday night, Friday is no longer a surprise. He concludes it must happen on Thursday, but that would also be expected. Value paradox. Important things like water are cheaper even though they are essential, while non-essential things like diamonds are more expensive. Pinocchio paradox. If Pinocchio says, "My nose will grow," it creates a problem. If it's true, his nose should grow, but then he's lying. If it's false, his nose shouldn't grow, but then he's telling the truth. Hedonistic paradox. The more directly you try to find pleasure or happiness, the less likely you are to get it. Crocodile paradox. A crocodile steals a child and promises to return it if the parent correctly guesses what the crocodile will do. If the parent says the child won't be returned and the crocodile agrees, a paradox happens. If the crocodile returns the child, it breaks its promise. If it doesn't return the child, it also breaks the agreement. Sword and shield paradox. What happens when a sword that can cut through any shield meets a shield that can block any sword? Dichotomy paradox. Imagine walking towards a destination. To get there, you first have to walk halfway, and to walk halfway there, you have to walk quarter of the way and so on. This creates an infinite number of steps, making it seem like you can never reach your destination. Arrow paradox. It seems an arrow in motion is always changing its position, but the paradox says that at any instant, it can't move to where it isn't or where it is, making it stationary. Since time is made up of these instants, the paradox suggests the arrow is stationary the whole time. Grand Hotel paradox. In an infinitely big hotel with infinitely many rooms, even if all rooms are full, the hotel can still take more guests. To fit you in, The hotel could move the guest from room 1 to room 2. This would move every guest to a new room, which is possible since there are infinite rooms. Card paradox. What is true if a card has the phrase, "the sentence on the other side of this card is true," on one side, and "the sentence on the other side of this card is false" on the other side? Liar paradox. Imagine someone says, "I'm lying." If the liar is indeed lying, then the liar is telling the truth, which means he just lied about lying. Grain of millet paradox. When a grain of millet falls, it makes no sound, but when 1,000 grains fall, they do. Thus, many of nothing becomes something. The truth is that it does make a sound. It's just too quiet for us to hear. Boltzmann brain. It might be more likely for a single brain to randomly form an empty space, complete with memories of having existed in our universe, rather than for the whole universe to come about. Paradox of enrichment. Adding more food to an ecosystem may cause instability and even lead to extinction. Service recovery paradox. Fixing a problem with a defective product can make customers happier than if no problem had happened at all. Stability instability paradox. When two countries each have nuclear weapons, the chance of a direct war between them goes down, but the chance of minor or indirect conflicts between them goes up. Ironic process theory. Trying hard not to think about something often makes you think about it even more. Paradox of choice. The idea that having fewer choices can make people less anxious and happier. Birthday paradox. To be sure that at least 2 people in a group have the same birthday, you'd need 366 people. But to have a 50% chance, you only need 23 people. Lottery paradox. If there is one winning ticket in a big lottery, it is reasonable to think any specific ticket is not the winner. But it is not reasonable to think no ticket will win. Raven paradox. If you want to prove that all ravens are black, finding a black raven supports your claim. But the paradox says that finding something that is not a raven and not black, like a green apple, also supports your claim. Temperature paradox. If the temperature is 90 and rising, is 90 rising? Irresistible force paradox. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Schrödinger's cat. In quantum theory, a particle can be in many states at once when not observed. This is called superposition. When observed, the particle randomly picks one state. Let's say we have a machine that releases poison if the particle is in a certain state, and we put a cat in the box with it. Until we look, the machine both releases and doesn't release the poison, so the cat is both alive and dead. This only works if we don't count the cat or the machine as observers. Twin paradox. According to Einstein, the faster you travel through space, the slower you move through time. If your twin becomes an astronaut and travels at the speed of light, you'd be older than him when he comes back. Friendship paradox. On average, your friends tend to have more friends than you do. This happens because people who are social and have more friends are more likely to be your friends' friends. Preparedness paradox. After preparing to avoid a disaster and reducing the damage, the perception of the disaster would be much less serious because of the limited damage caused.